TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. You are tuned in to your protection from deception right here at truthfrequencyradio.com and simulcasting this first hour on youtube.com under the Jeranism channel. You are all correctly tuned in to the #1 show on TFR on Monday nights between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. That show is Jeranism Monday Night Raw, and it starts now. I'm your host, Jaron from Jeranism, and with me, as always, to my left, kind of, or to my right, depending on how you look at it, is the one and the only David Maldonado Weiss. David, how are we?
I'm doing great, but I'm not actually to your left. I'm a little south of left, so you've got it all wrong.
Oh, no, I do? Great. Yes, because
the analogy,
the sun, I did get it, yes. The sun must be where we're looking at it. The sun must be where we see it in the sky. There's no way that the atmosphere, the extremely heavy atmosphere all around us could impact our view at all. No, I totally agree. So if people don't get that, that is commentary on Wolfie6020, who has again made another video,
third video. Thank you very much.
Third video. We appreciate all the fantastic television time, if you will, all the press. No press is bad. No press is bad press. That's what I was trying to say. So we do appreciate it, Wolfie. Keep making those videos, saying that it just shows butthurtness. I actually did you ever listen to that interview he did, Dave?
No.
Good.
What interview?
Well, he did an interview finally, like, I don't know, maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when it was. But he makes this claim where he doesn't dare watch anything Flat Earthers put out because there's no use. And that's just hilarious because it's obviously somebody who's closed-minded, who thinks he knows it all and wouldn't dare look at any evidence to the contrary. He's just going to continue going to Hawaii and showing the sun set at 270, and then he'll show on the app, well, the app shows that the sun would be setting to the northwest and it's setting to my southwest, and therefore the app doesn't work and the app can't be true, even though we know we're looking at the sun through heavy atmosphere, and it is going to affect where we see the sun. And that's been known forever. That's why they can't triangulate the sun either. You know, they can't even do it on the flat Earth. So not sure if you heard me live, Dave. I just got done with a live presentation on my channel. Did you catch it?
I did. It was great. It was really enjoyable. That Desmond or whatever his name is,
Dylan.
Yes. What a worthless, unthinking, effortless. Can I say? No, I'm not going to say it.
Wait till the second hour.
Yeah, second hour. There you go. But I mean, the guy doesn't do any effort. I mean, that's just what he did was just laziness.
Yeah. And that's what's crazy is people saying that we do this for money and this and that. And it's like if they thought that people like Simon Dan has all these viewers now, and people like Wolfie has jumped up and has videos getting 4-point-something million views and everything. If it was just about money, Dave, let's switch tomorrow and be globe earthers, and then we just need to attend flat Earth conferences and basically make fun of them and put videos up on our channel. We don't have to do any research. It's like you always say, right? That if I tell you guys I'm a doctor, well, you can either believe me, which is very easy. You just say, oh, Jaron's a doctor. He says he's a doctor. And
your whole day is free.
Done. You can do whatever you want. Go out to eat, go watch a football game, whatever you want to do. It's easy. But if I tell you that I'm a doctor and you really want the truth, well, then it requires some work on your part. And a lot of people just don't want to do that work.
Yeah. I have friends in my life that they just won't take that first step after years of seeing them on and off. They still ask the same basic questions. How come the edge? How come people are hiding this? What difference does it make?
I thought the most telling part of that video that he did was when he draws his flight path. He says, I took a flight from Toronto to Japan, and here's where we went. And he takes the Mercator map and draws a line from Toronto to Japan across the Pacific Ocean. And everybody who's a flat earther, everybody I thought would definitely know that that's not the way planes fly from Toronto to Japan. And all you have to do is pull up any kind of flight tracker and see exactly the path they fly. And they fly in exactly the path that he made fun of. Like, well, if it was a flat Earth, I would just take the quicker route, which goes above the Arctic Circle. And guess what, Dylan? That's exactly what you did. And that just shows me that he did no research. He just assumes that he flew across the Pacific Ocean.
People, when they pull those lines out themselves on Google Earth or whatever, and it makes that big that big arch, they're like, oh, that's because it's the Great Circle. It's going around the curve of the Earth. And no, it's just bending it to fit on the stretched out flat Earth model over the globe.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I thought that was one of the biggest signs that he did no research. And then the other things is just when people are talking and making good points, he's just playing clown music behind it. And that's an easy way to make anything look ridiculous. And that's a sign that he wasn't there to learn. He wasn't there to grow. He wasn't there to challenge his beliefs, which is what we should be doing, right? That's the way that you get rid of your belief systems is you challenge all your beliefs until all that's left is truth. But
this is where I have to go against you. I don't think he was playing clown music. I think he was playing organ grinder music.
Oh, sorry.
With the monkey,
yes,
not clown.
The monkey
music.
Yeah, with the box. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, well, okay. Well, he's playing not circus music, but music that makes whatever is being said in front of it sound ridiculous.
True.
And they were making great points. I mean, he makes this claim as if planes, are flown by pilots. Like people up there in the clouds are driving around holding onto the steering wheel and steering in clouds. I guess they know which direction to go and everything. People fail to realize that all flights are flown electronically. And I don't know about you, but it actually made me, I used to be afraid of flying. And I don't know if I'm not afraid of flying now because I'm a flat earther or if I'm not afraid of flying because I finally realized it's not people that are flying the planes, that it's computers.
And now, I think in your stream, somebody said that pilots only take off and land. I heard that they only take off and that the planes are landing by themselves now.
Well, I think that they do kind of do that, and that's that case in San Francisco where that I forgot what the name of the flight was, Asiana maybe, the one that went off the edge of the runway, overflew it. Also, I heard a recent story where a pilot fell asleep and went like 30 miles past the airport and had to turn around and come back. So I'm not necessarily sure how true that is. I think that they maybe get alerts in there like, hey, it's time to land. Hey, start bringing the plane down. But
the pilot that went 30 miles too far, was it a small plane or was it a jumbo jet?
No, he was flying by himself.
Yeah, okay. So they're flying and landing and they have autopilot for whatever, for the straight parts of the flight. But I believe, and I got to research more, and it takes effort, man. I wish I just could believe that they're just physically working, flying to take off, and then once they're up, it flies the flight and lands on its own.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I got to check it out. It takes time and effort.
Well, I think once you get down to a certain point and you're getting close to the airport, yeah, they do need the pilot to bring it in just because of weather conditions and other things. But you're right. It would be easier. It would make more sense if you did it by computer. I don't know. Up on the screen now for those watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on the radio, you can also call in 866-26-TRUTH or 1-213-233-3998. We usually take calls the second half of the show, so you will line up, and there might be many of you, but we'll try and blow through them and keep them short. And again, Dave, don't you think that anybody calling in as a ball earth believer needs to first give us their number one proof that they live on a ball?
Always. Always, all the time.
Yeah, we need to hear that first before you call in and call us crazy and that we're lunatics. And yeah, I thought the video today was good. I wanted to point out a few things. Obviously, he brought up the fact that flat earthers say we see too far. I think that's one of the, most glaring proofs that there is for flat earth, if not the nail in the coffin for me, is there's just some areas where we see too far. And yes, he just quickly turned that into what they're actually seeing is Fata Morgana, and they're not seeing too far. They're seeing mirages. And, well, yeah, that's because that's all the research that you've done is watch some newscaster say what you're seeing here is a mirage. And that's the way that they go. They just believe that, and they say, oh, it's a mirage. It must be Fata Morgana. They've never looked into it. If you look into Canigou and you watch these videos that are being taken from this church at 1,000 feet elevation of a mountain range that's 175 miles away, you will see those mountains don't move. They're not flipped upside down. They're not inverted. It's not an inferior mirage. It's not a superior mirage. It is the mountain range of Canigou.
What ballers do is they take the one tiny piece of evidence or of something and assume it's for everything. So if a Fata Morgana exists, that means everything they see on the horizon is a Fata Morgana.
Right, and they have to have that belief. Otherwise, they can't explain why we see so far, because their globe Earth of 25,000 miles in circumference doesn't work for those kind of distances that we're seeing. And it's not just Canigou, it's everything else. I thought that I wanted to bring up, and I actually think I'm still going to do a video just talking about this one point. That observation in Monterey is huge to me, because again, with the mirror, yeah. And I want to do more with it, and I want to go further distances, because again, you have to believe that mirror is reflecting over some sort of obstruction, which, just bear with me here, Dave. If we took a huge piece of cardboard, let's say, I don't know, 10 by 10, and we went and we blocked that mirror reflection, well, the person on the other side can't see it. There's nothing that's going to lift the reflection of the mirror up over the piece of 10 by 10 cardboard. Now, the amount of curvature that needs to exist in 13.5 miles across that water, even if we put the combined viewer height and camera height at 10 feet or 20 feet, I'll even do it as 30 feet. You're still going to have a huge amount of, let me see here, I just want to do this real quick. I'm going to put 20 feet of eye height, 13.5, and we get 42 feet. So I just was talking about a piece of cardboard 10 by 10. Imagine we find a piece of cardboard 42 by 42, and you think that you're going to be able to see a reflection of a mirror behind that? It's ludicrous. It's finally the line of sight that we're talking about. I do understand the argument against the lasers, but there is no argument that I've heard anywhere at all that can account for us seeing mirror reflections.
Well, you won't hear an argument. You won't, because they won't address it. They will ignore it like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and that's why I think I got to do a video on it and go out. And there's actually, what they did was from Pacific Grove, Lovers Point to Moss Landing. Well, you can just swing your camera left, and you can get all the way out as far as 25 miles, and you're looking at Santa Cruz from Monterey. And yeah, I've been eating lunch in in Santa Cruz, and we could kind of see across, and I was kind of like asking questions. I was like, I don't think you can see Monterey from here. And one of the servers came over and said, oh yeah, you can usually see Monterey from here. You can just look across the water and see it. But today it's a little bit murky and you can't see it. But there's people seeing these observations. Now, if we can show a mirror reflection at 25 miles, then it's just ridiculous. Because even if you get, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, even if we get, 75 feet. So that's talking about an observer at 40 feet and the mirror at 35 feet. And we're talking about doing 25 miles. You calculate that, and the hidden target height is 138 feet. So now we're talking about a 13-story building. If we're seeing reflection, how is the reflection getting over the obstruction? It's ridiculous. I mean, there's not even an argument here that can be said. Like I said, I understand the argument from the perspective of if you're doing a laser and we see the point, we say, see, I can see where the laser is being shot from, therefore I can see across this distance. Well, Globers come and they say, well, actually, that point that you see that you're calling the laser is the point where the laser comes over the curve. I don't agree with it, but again, I can understand that complaint. But now that complaint is completely gone when we're seeing mirror reflections. So I just think that they are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle here, and I just want to keep going further with that observation. Do it with a infrared camera. I think that's going to be our best bet, because mirror reflections have to be within that line of sight. You can't have an obstructed mirror reflection. Somebody can't stand in front of an old heliograph machine with a big cardboard piece and people behind them still see the reflection. You're blocking it. So how
will that look with an infrared camera?
I'm not sure. I can't wait to see. You're having your P1000 done, right?
Yeah, they're working on it right now. I should have it back within 10 days.
Yeah, I got an awesome donation of $100. Thank you very much from Owen Charles, and he has contributed towards my conversion, so I'm just a couple dollars away, and then I'll be sending mine in right behind you. And I can't wait to get it back and go to this same location and start trying to show with a mirror. Last time I went, I was trying to flash with a small mirror, and I'm talking an 8-inch round mirror. And obviously from that distance, I don't think that when you're down by the water, you kind of can get confused. Am I seeing the mirror flash? Am I seeing a glint off the waves? What am I seeing? But like Sydney had there in that video, they've got a huge door mirror, which is about 6 foot long by 2 foot wide. And clearly we're seeing that is the mirror reflection. So they also did something, a great idea of having those smokestacks behind them. Sometimes it's a little harder than people think to locate somebody across the water if you don't have some sort of landmark right behind you. So that's what'll be tough by going further, but I still think it's doable.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, just doubling back, I wanted to say when you said where you were having lunch, you could see Monterey, but some days you can't. What these globe zealots do, they'll go, oh, you can't see Monterey. That's because of the curve. And they ignore all of the other evidence. Or if you're looking across Lake Michigan or wherever, and you can't see the bottom quarter of the buildings when the entire building should be gone, they're like, oh, you can't see the bottom quarter.
Right.
And that's because of curvature. And they'll just stick on that point. And then lazy people, which most of us were, will come along and listen to that and go, oh, yeah, that's because it's a curve. And they just, it has to be because they believe it's a curve. So they'll just make up anything and only hear what supports their belief. We used to be that way.
No, we totally did. No, I totally see your point. And one thing that even goes a stretch further, when you talk about, okay, if I say I'm a doctor and you can either believe me or you can go look into it. Well, imagine if going to look into it also brought ridicule. Then nobody would look into it. Why would anybody double check on what I'm saying? Because if they go double check, they're going to get a bunch of ridicule from family and friends and other people that they might know. Like, what are you doing? Well, I'm looking into whether or not Jaron's a doctor. Well, you're a moron. Only morons would look into that. We've known for 2,000 years that Jaron's a doctor, et cetera, et cetera. So it becomes a double-edged sword where they've kind of corralled people into this belief and then said, if you think anything outside of this, then you're a moron. So that plus the fact that it actually takes work to find the truth creates a very complacent society that just believes what they're told to believe.
It takes work, effort, and time, and people are very short on all of those.
Yep, I totally agree. So, if you want to call in, get in line for that. I'm trying to remember what else. David, I want to know your opinion on this. Is the Flat Earth International Conference too religious?
Wow, what a good question. There are a lot of Catholics there, or Christians, and a lot of them are, in my opinion, a little too forceful. So if you're facing all of that, you can do what a Glober does and says, well, it's a religious conference and everyone's religious, and that's why they believe the Earth is flat is because it's religious. Me, I had a little different experience. I kind of know who they are, and I surrounded myself with other people that I wanted to talk to. So for me, it wasn't, but I could see how a lot of people would think it is. And I think Robbie did everything he could to make it not overwhelmingly on the religious side. I actually think he did a good job, but you could get lost in the religion. Does that make sense?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I think that the only reason it becomes too religious to me is because you and I do just fine proving the Earth is flat without the Bible. And so that alone tells me that anybody can do what we do. Anybody can prove that the Earth is flat without ever touching the Bible at all. So I the only problem I have a little bit, and again, I think people can believe whatever they want, whatever makes them a good person. Nathan Roberts is a great person. The shirts that he hands out, and the shirts that and I know that he's a good guy, and I could tell his kids were polite and
great
very
kids.
Great, yeah. And his wife is so nice. Everybody's so nice in that family, so it's hard to say anything bad. My only thing I'm saying is when you wear a shirt that says Bible says flat Earth, to me, there's so much more evidence. I don't know why I would ever go to that evidence.
Now, for somebody that is a Catholic or Christian that is new to flat Earth and bumps into a Nathan Roberts or anybody else like that, perfect. It works great for them because that's their mindset. But somebody who's not religious and you start off with that, it doesn't really bring them. It doesn't get them to really see what's going on, and it slants their understanding of what flat Earth really is or where it really came from.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about this character, Dylan. I don't know who he is. I've never watched one of his videos before. I just happened to see this one earlier yesterday. But I think that I could tell that he was turned off by it. And, in my opinion, I think it's mostly because it's a religious idea that he's taking it and saying, oh, this is religious, not paying attention to the fact that David or I will never mention a Bible verse as a proof of the flat earth, because there's every other proof that you need is there. Why would I need to go to that? And my only concern comes when you talk about, if you and I went to a Globe Earth conference because we really wanted to hear about the Globe Earth, and there's people wearing shirts that say Newton's book says sphere Earth, Newton's book says gravity. Well, I would have a problem with that. And I would kind of laugh at that person and be like, look at these guys. They're saying that this ancient book is what they're going on. So I kind of have the same opinion. Again, people can believe what they want. They can wear whatever shirts they want. They can sell whatever shirts they want. I just care that they're a good person. Nathan is a good person. Rob Skeeb is a good person. Robbie Davidson's a good person. Rick Hummer's a great person. All these guys that have religious, they're coming into it from a religious perspective.
What about Rick Hummer?
I said that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Anybody else I missed? No, there's so many. Yeah, there's so many, and they're good people, and that's all I care about. And I sat down and talked to Rob Skiba. We've talked many times, and he never tells me, you need to find Jesus. You need to hurry up and find Jesus or you're going to burn in hell. He talks to me like a human being, and we both believe the earth is flat, and we both have our evidences for it. And Rob goes out and he tests things, and that's what I like. I like people like that. And religion is welcome into this movement because I understand that their book that they believe in does describe a flat earth. It does. So I just think that there's so many other proofs, and I just don't want people getting turned away because they see it and say, oh, this is a Christian-only movement. And I actually think...
And that is happening a lot.
Right. And I actually think that they're going to use that to their advantage, right? Yes, the earth is flat and stationary, and the fact that it is said that in the Bible, well, there's already thousands upon hundreds of thousands and millions and billions of people that do not like the Bible, that do not agree with the things that the Bible says, that do not agree with the God that's portrayed in the Bible. And so they're immediately going to see this if it's connected to flat earth and say, oh, the flat earth movement is a Christian movement. It's going to immediately turn off a ton of people that I wish it didn't. And I understand why it does, because I was somebody in that boat. I was somebody who before believed in the sphere earth and thought anything that came from the outside was just nonsense. And it took me having to look into it myself and really research it. So I'm just hoping that people understand that, yes, the conference is put on by Robbie, who is a Christian. I think I agree with Dave. He did the best he could to keep religion out of it, because I don't think we need it. But at the other hand, there is people that are Christians that want to hear that kind of presentation. So it is kind of puts Robbie in between a rock and a hard place.
And I said it before, and everyone's tired of hearing it, but Robbie did his best when there was a Christian thing going on. He had something else going on in the other room, so you could go to that conference, listen to something at every hour of the day that something was going on, and not hear something Christian. Except, like, we had the panel, and then all the Christians were asking Christian questions.
Right, that was a little bit. You mean the non-biblical? That's when you're talking about the non-biblical one where somebody got in line and read from the Bible, which doesn't.
You really just need to feel your audience out, because sometimes I didn't speak to Rob a lot this time, but all of the last year when I spoke with him and when we spoken on the phone, never once did he bring up religion. But I know he's there. If I want to bring it up, he's happy to answer it. But he never forces it on me.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I've talked about it many times before, I really care about what kind of person you are. And it doesn't matter to me what the path is that gets you to be a good person. If it's that you need to believe in Allah, or you need to believe in Jesus, or you need to believe that God's son came down, whatever it is, if it makes you a good person, then that's great. And if you then take that and you try and rub it in other people's faces, or you say you don't understand the truth, Jesus is the only truth, he's the only answer, he's your only way to God, well, then I feel like you're impacting other people's lives and not following the rule of live and let live. Now, if you're being a dirtball in your life and you're hurting people and stealing and causing problems, then I don't agree with whatever belief you believe in. Doesn't matter what it is. Whatever's making you be that way is a negative thing. And whatever makes you a good person is a positive thing. So I'm certainly not somebody hating on Christianity. I have family that's Christians, heavily Christian, and that's made them a good person. In fact, I was brought up religious, and I think it's helped make me a better person. So I don't have anything bad to say about religion. The only thing is I think it's going to cause people maybe to turn a frown at the flat earth because they think it's a religious movement, where, all you need to do is listen to my show or listen to this show or listen to you can listen to the Flat Earth podcast, right, Dave? Because you get both ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah, people are calling that a religious show now. People that are hypersensitive to it just because Matt will bring something up. It's there's no winning with anybody, not just Christians. So don't shoot me for that.
No. I'm called the Antichrist and my foul-mouthed heathen wife. Everything else from Dean Odell and crew, and that's fine. I mean, the problem with it is that if Dean Odell really cared about who was a good person, then he would look at me and say, oh, Jaron's doing good things. He's bringing people to God, if you want to call it that, reminding people that we are created, reminding people that we are the center, that we're very important. We're not minuscule. We're not just specks of dust in an endless universe. He would look at that and say, okay, it's okay. And Jaron's not out smashing the Bible or I could make videos every day that says, well, this is why I don't believe in the Bible. And this is why I think it's wrong. And I don't make those videos because there's a lot of people that has led them to be a good person. So I don't have a problem with that. The problem becomes when people start forcing their religion on you, which, like you said, Rob doesn't do that to me. Rob Skiba, I'm talking about. Robbie Davidson doesn't do that to me. But again, like you said, if I ever wanted to talk religion to Robbie or Rob, they would both be there in a heartbeat to hear me out and listen to my questions or comments. So, for sure. All right, I believe we've got a break coming up, and when we get back, we will be talking much more, and the calls are lining up. We've got a special call from Ginger Sugarbush getting ready to grace us with his presence. So, like I said, we usually get to those in the second half. Maybe we'll get to some of those in the next half hour. Maybe not. So don't go anywhere. And my clock is off. There it is. All right, good. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 3 minutes.
It comes with cost, a price to large, 'cause if we're really just born to die, I'm not allowed. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say.
I was just calling to tell you what a great product you have. I had used this about 10 years ago after I had congestive heart failure. And it fixed me up and got me going for the last 10 years. Lately, I've been having heart trouble again, so I placed another order because this was the only thing that ever worked. And I just wanted to let you know that you have a great product.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Jim Ram, retired. In early 2012, I was facing a laundry list of chronic health conditions that my physician was telling me were incurable. I knew there had to be a better way, and I learned how I could reverse every one of my ailments with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. In just a few months, I was able to reverse high blood pressure, gastric reflux, sleep apnea, arthritis, degenerative disc disease, heart arrhythmia, AFib, and many more. And I've lost over 70 pounds and kept it off. Now I'm hosting a radio program that's dedicated to helping my listeners do the same. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, If you're sick of being used as an ATM by your doctor, then you'll want to tune into the Your DIY Health radio program here on Truth Frequency Radio every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern and 6 to 8 a.m. Pacific.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. You are listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We're here on TFR. You can go to tfrlive.com to check it out, or you can continue listening to the next half hour here on YouTube. And then after that, you can head over to Ginger Sugarbush 905's channel where he'll be simulcasting, and you can check it out there. So lots of ways to watch the show. Also, I do have the Super Chat screen up, so if you do want something read online, or if you have a comment or question, you can use that, or you can call in 213-233-3998. Again, that's 213-233-3998, or you can use the Super Chat for as little as $1, Dave, and you can get a question in. Isn't that cool?
Very cool. Hey, I just want to mention the useless Flat Earth Sun and Moon clock app.
Useless.
Today I was in my office and I had my iPhone sitting upright as my clock, so I got to look at it, and I noticed the beautiful waxing crescent moon, which was just behind the sun, or it was following the sun as the sun was trying to run away from it. And then when I was leaving, I had to walk down the street to the west to my car, and the sun had just gone, below my point of view because there was a hill in the distance. And I was like, wait a minute, the moon should be right up. And I looked up, and there it was, exactly the crescent where the app said it was.
But the angle was way wrong, Dave, because math is reality.
No, it was dead on.
Whatever the math tells me is where the sun must be. Don't you agree? Oh.
It was perfect. It was right there, and I'm like, wow. It lined right up, and it reminded me to look up at the sky and see the amazing heavens above.
Yeah, the app is great for helping people out there who still have questions like, well, how is the whole Earth not dark at night? How is the whole Earth not bright at daytime? So go ahead.
I went to I live in a townhouse complex, and we had our Christmas gathering yesterday, and I went there hoping somebody opened the door to speak Flat Earth, and there was the grandson of one of the people that lives here who's visiting, who's actually moving to Australia. And he was probably, I don't know, 30, 20, late 20s, early 30s. And we started talking, and we talked conspiracies a little bit. And then I mentioned I have a podcast. He goes, what's a podcast? I threw out the name. He goes, oh, really? He goes, I've been hearing about it. I just haven't looked into it. Greatest conversation ever. And he goes, well, what does it really look like? How does it work? How does that work? Broke out the app, and he's like, oh, now I get it. It worked. It was worth making the app for that moment right there.
I totally agree. I
showed it to him.
Yeah.
And it turned it on fast forward. He's looking at it. He goes, oh, and he's right there. He was all over it. It worked perfectly. Perfect.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, I said it last week that it was great to be able to take it over to Thanksgiving dinner. And a lot of people in my family, when I talk Flat Earth, they kind of tune out, and this time when you show them the app at the same time, they were all looking at it saying, wow, interesting. And then asking questions based on it that they would have never asked otherwise. They just would have dismissed it, just like I did when my wife said, do you think the Earth could be flat? I said, no, that's ridiculous. How do planes go around it? What are you talking about? Don't be such an idiot.
A lot of people have iPads. Get your iPad, load the app on the iPad, set it up so it stands upright and put it on the shelf next to the pictures, wherever. Just set it up like a clock and have it out for the holidays when people are over, and everybody will look at it and everybody will ask questions.
And I hear so many people out there saying, well, Jaron, you said you don't have a model, and now you're promoting this model. And I said, no, I'm promoting a useful tool. What's wrong with that? I mean, this thing tells me I can look at it and see exactly where the sun is. I'm looking at it now, and the sun is dead smack over Australia. So, good to know that. See where the moon is. It looks like it's maybe over Hawaii. And the only thing about the app that is not perfectly accurate is that the moon actually travels the tropics like the sun does, but it does it on a monthly basis, not on a yearly basis like the sun. And that was just too hard for us, at least at this point, to calculate into there. But you could do that easily, and that would help it out a lot.
Yeah, that I have it set where it just stays on the equator, because to making the moon smaller, it was harder to see the phases, and the programming behind it really wasn't worth it. But that is an upgrade that I can do after, if this, if I can make my money back,
right? If you can break
and
even.
afford to do it. It's not, this stuff isn't cheap to do, so.
No, it's not. But I think it turned out great, for having the idea and saying, hey, this should work, and let's put it together. And the fact that it's hard for people to see that the sun actually moves up and down the hour hand. So right now it's December 10th, so we're getting close to the outer edges of the sun's reach, and then we'll be able to watch it come all the way back, and by June it'll be up at the Tropic of Cancer. So.
If you do the super fast, the daily time lapse, it moves in and out in like just a couple of minutes. It'll work its way right in past the equator all the way into June to the Tropic of Cancer.
And it just makes so much sense to explain to people why the South and North are so different. Because in the globe Earth, they should be very close to identical, if not identical. The only thing different would be that the sun is, according to the heliocentric model, closer during the southern summer. And therefore, you would think that, you have to remember that huge landmass of Antarctica, let's talk about globe now, that huge landmass at the bottom of the globe gets 24 hours of sun for 6 months. When the sun's just going around and not melting a thing, and it's closer to the Earth than it is when it's 115 degrees and the sun's right above my head, give me a break.
Yeah.
So I think it helps explain a lot better why we can't travel south and why things get a little bit choppy down there and a little bit more dangerous. And so, but I still don't even know enough about the North. They still are hiding something in the North as well.
Yeah, I think there's something big in the North.
And
I've said it before, that National Geographic that made us all think, oh, I never want to go there. It's freezing. It's dark, 140 below zero, windy. That was just to scare us away from what's truly there. Hey, one last note on the app is everyone's asking Android. I am trying hard. The developers are having difficulty getting the programming to work. It's just taking a little longer. I was hoping for this week. It still could be, but don't worry. You'll know when the Android comes out. I'll make like 20 videos.
Maybe not that many. Maybe 10.
All right. Maybe 10.
All right. And before, I've been on a lot of shows today. Before I was on my own live hangout, I was on Ranty Flat Earth's hangout with Nathan Oakley and Anthony Riley, and a couple other people were on that, Adam Meakin. And we were just having a conversation, a chit-chat, and I said something in there in passing, and everybody stopped me and said, wait, are you sure? Show us. What do you mean by that? So these are things that have been said in past videos of mine that I think still need to be said. People don't understand that magnetic declination. Okay, so magnetic declination is the the drift of the compass. So where I'm at in California, my magnetic declination is like 13 degrees east. So if I had a compass and the compass pointed north, technically I'm supposed to turn 13 degrees to the east, and that's actually north. Okay, so I can kind of understand where that comes from. Here's what people don't seem to recognize. There are places in Antarctica, okay, that if you look up the magnetic declination for those places, it is 180 degrees, either positive or negative, which it wouldn't make a difference because 180 degrees of declination means if you had a compass and you pulled it out and it pointed you north, that north is actually 180 degrees behind you. So I said that and they were like, wait, no, are you sure? Come on, that's not, because it sounds ridiculous. And it is ridiculous because how can there be a place down south where if you look north, you're actually looking south. And if you look south, you're actually looking north. And if you look east, you're actually looking west. I mean, come on. People need to recognize that. This is not a joke. Simply type in magnetic declination. you'll find a website that will give you a map of the Earth. You can place your cursor anywhere, and you can get exactly the declination for that area. One of the surprising things of that is there's places in Antarctica that range from anywhere from 75, 85, 95, 110, 120, 150, 180 degrees of declination. And, if I was smart enough, and I'll admit that I'm not smart enough mathematically to do this, but I think that the entire flat Earth is hidden inside the magnetic declination. If somebody could actually go and pinpoint those places and actually turn them to the correct area, it would change the world as we know it. And it's just too difficult mathematically for me to do. There's too many places on Earth that the magnetic declination jumps anywhere, like I said, from 0 degrees to 180. Dave, did you know that there's places 180 degrees?
Yeah, I know that. Do they do that just because the flat Earth doesn't wrap on a globe and they have to do that to make it work? Or do they do that to actually just make it more complicated so nobody can figure out where we are?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. But, I mean, it certainly isn't to do with the flat Earth, because this is something on declination. No matter where you look at the declination, if it's on a globe map, if it's on a Mercator map, you can pinpoint a place that you want the declination, and it will give you the declination. So imagine that there is this mass of Earth at the bottom of the globe. Now picture that somewhere on that mass of Earth, that if you look north with your compass telling you that's north, that you have to turn around completely, and that's north. So when that's mixed in and you realize that people would have no clue, if you're out in the middle of the snow and you're out in the middle of the frozen tundra that is Antarctica, do you think that you're going to have a clue of like, wow, this doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem like north. This seems like south. And you wouldn't have a clue. So it's all done by computer, same thing as these flight charts and everything else. People just don't want to look at it. And again, it's much easier to just believe that it's all been figured out and it's time to watch Monday Night Football. So
true. Yeah, no, I get it. It baffles my mind, and it's just easier not to think about it.
Yeah, that's the truth. It's much easier not to think about it. So, Dave, any other videos you've seen? Usually, like I said, every week I get a slew of videos from you that are debunking random videos. What did you send me this week?
I don't remember. Did I send you anything?
I don't think it was anything good. No, it wasn't any debunking videos or the like. I sent you the one of the you did send me a nice post. I don't remember which website it was from that said Steph Curry says that no one's been to the moon, huh?
Yeah, that actually I got that from Mark Sargent. He sent that over to me.
Perfect.
I didn't know who Steph Curry was. Sorry.
He's one of the best in the NBA.
Yep.
And it says here, I'm looking at the report from Bleacher Report, and it says Stephen Curry says he doesn't believe man landed on the moon. Actually, it's Stephen Curry, I guess is the correct pronunciation. NBA loves a good conspiracy theory. There was Kyrie Irving's flat earth theory, though he later retracted it. That's what this article says. There was Kyrie Irving's flat earth theory, though when did he retract it?
You remember that video where they all claimed he retracted it, but he spun his words very well, very nicely,
right?
Saying that I shouldn't have said that in public. That's the biggest retraction of what he said.
They'll definitely grasp onto that and say it's a retraction. And it says, and now Golden State Warrior superstar Steph Curry has said he doesn't believe that humans have ever landed on the moon. That's just a sign to me of somebody who can review evidence and make their own mind up. What do you think?
Yeah, they got a lot of time to actually think. They're not, basketball players have some, people in sports have a little more free time than the average working man or woman.
So Curry asked on the Vince Carter and Kent Bezamore's Winging It podcast, where he was appearing alongside Andre Iguodala, and Curry said, "We ever been to the moon? ? Multiple responders. Nope. Curry, they're going to come get us. I don't think so either." So that's just the start. I mean, that makes me so happy. I wished all globe believers could come together and at least we settle on a point. Like, okay, man hasn't been to the moon. Now let's move forward from there. But no, they'll argue it till they're blue in the face that men have actually traveled to the moon 238,000 miles away, and since then have gone 200 miles, if you believe that.
Did you see, I think it was Taboo Conspiracy put up a video about believing in rockets going to outer space. I think the Chinese launched a rocket.
I didn't see the video. Tell me about it.
It's a short video. It looks like they launched a real rocket because when there's a stream of steam or smoke, a solid line, I think they're actually launching something. How big it is, I don't know. They don't go that far. And it basically just went up and over. And then he showed, I how it was filmed from a satellite 450 miles above Earth, I think was the height. And it's ridiculous. You can tell whatever this was, it was no higher than an airplane.
And it goes up and comes back down.
It goes up. It goes up, and it curves over, and then before it ends, the video ends. And
Right.
it supposedly we're seeing that from 450 miles away. It's just nonsense. And then for the first part, during the takeoff, when it's going straight up, the satellite's not moving. And then when it curves over, the satellite starts following it. I mean, it's just such garbage, but people just believe it because cinematically it works in their brains.
Yeah, they don't
Is
see
cinematically a word.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I'll allow it. Allowed. There it is. No, I mean, yeah, I totally agree. I think it's all nonsense, and it's not even a difficult trick because all you do is you launch these rockets in a direction towards the ocean where they've cleared the ocean. They completely cleared that path anywhere near where that craft is going to go. They launch it up in the sky, everyone oohs and ahs, and the thing takes off, and then it goes too far where nobody from the shore can see it. That's it. That's the trick. And then they put some video on screen where it flips into the space view, with the curved Earth behind it and everything. And that's what they've convinced people is space travel. And you'll have people like Red's Rhetoric who will go on and on about, I filmed the rockets going to space. No, you film the rockets going up into the sky. Then the video flips to a space view, and you just believe them. That's the difference, yeah. So pretty upsetting to see that. Again, just one more time, if you want to get in line, 213-233-3998 when we get back. We will be taking calls. I do have that question. I don't know if I'm going to harp on it for how long because I think it's so important. But I'm asking Globe Believers now, besides what your number one proof is, also, what would it take at this kind of beach observation when we're seeing mirror reflections? What is it going to take for you to understand what we're seeing there? I can't really grasp. I mean, if somebody walked in front of that mirror with a 10 by 10 board, the reflection would go away. So you have to understand that the curvature of the Earth that you believe in is the same thing as a 10 by 10 board obstructing the mirror. Something is moving in front of the mirror reflection. How in the world is the person 13.5 miles away from a 1.5 feet high seeing that reflection? How is the reflection jumping curves? Just like the reflection could never jump that 10 by 10 board or a 30 by 30 or a 40 by 40 board. It's impossible. So if you are calling in and you are a Globe Believer, tell me what it would take. What's wrong with that experiment? What do you not agree with there? And are you somebody who believes that? I mean, if you think about it, Dave, think about the backdoor mirror that's got, it's 6 foot tall by 2 foot wide. And as soon as the sun hits that and reflects, think of all the direction that reflection goes. It just dissipates. It's gone. The only way you would ever see that reflection is if you're looking at the mirror that's reflecting it.
And they have it lined up perfectly with the sun, so the angle hits you. I mean, you got to aim that thing. You got to time it. There's only a small window of the day where you can pull it off, and they did it.
Yeah, and they did it, and I think that it can be done again. And when I do it next time, I would love to have some Globe Believers out there to make sure that we're doing it right and by their specifications, because it's something that I think flat earthers do a lot of. I know I do it, which is always err on the side of the globe. I don't err on the side of flat earth. I don't take my observations and say, okay, well, this camera is 1 foot and the observation is 1 foot, and therefore we'll put in the curve calculator that it's 2 feet. No, I don't do that. I would give it 10 feet, 20 feet, because there's that much extra for flat earth proof that you can err on the side of the globe and it still comes out flat.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely something. So, I mean, I just am appreciative of anybody who can come out in public and say something like they don't think we went to the moon. Because it just tells me that they've done the kind of research that needs to be done to reach that conclusion, because it's obvious. And when you look at technology and what happens with technology and how things grow and how much better we get at things, the craft that took the astronauts to the moon supposedly had the computing power of a Nintendo Game Boy. I mean, that is ridiculous. And the fact that in our hands now, if you've got an iPhone or an Android, there's more power in your phone. There's more memory capability in your phone than there was in entire NASA complexes in 1969. Meaning an entire room of supercomputers did not have the computing power that your phone does, but we went to the moon then, but we can't go further than 200 miles now. I mean, there's no explanation for that I've heard other than, well, it costs a lot of money, and yeah, but they'll go to Mars. Why do they go to Mars? Because you can't prove it.
We've already gone to the moon. Why do we don't need to go back again? And the other argument is, well, we're not allowed to go there because there's aliens there, and they told us not to come back. This is what we have to deal with.
That, or they're afraid that they'll find more petrified tree on the moon. You never know. They might be afraid of that. So no, I just appreciate anybody who can come out in public, especially these high-level celebrities or basketball players. In my opinion, because a lot of people, these guys are just lying and they're doing it, and this and that. I just think that basketball players and football players, they have a lot of time. That they're on planes a lot and they're in hotels a lot and they're sitting around with nothing to do but watch videos and research and study. And so some of them are coming to the same conclusions that we have after putting in the effort that we have, which is that the Earth is, observably and in every way flat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Dave doesn't disagree. Don't know if anybody else disagrees. So yeah, you can check out the rest of this video. If you go down to the description, you'll see a link to another YouTube channel that is Ginger Sugar Bush 905. You can go over there. He'll be telecasting the second half of the show while we will be on truthfrequencyradio.com, or you can go to tfrlive.com and click listen now, and you listen for free. Phone lines are lining up. There's about 6 people in line, if I'm looking at that right. Yep. Dave, anything else come up for you this week that we need to touch on?
Not been a slow week. Been busy at work.
Well, that's good. Slow is better than nothing. But no, I hope Wolfie continues to make videos crying about the app. I've told people many times I don't know why people believe him or trust in him or whatever. But again, I don't think that he's telling lies necessarily. He's just leading people down the wrong path and following the breadcrumbs that have been left by the people in charge of this deception so that you stumble upon him and think that the Earth is round. You have somebody going around saying, well, the sun always sets at 270 west on the equinox, and I go to Honolulu, and there it is setting at 270 west. Boom, proof of the sphere. It's like, what? How is that proof of the sphere? These are the same people that believe GPS is proof of the sphere. They say, well, GPS works, and GPS is based on a sphere, therefore the Earth must be a sphere. David, how hilarious is that?
I like people that say, how do you explain earthquakes, tectonic plate movement? Well, to me, it's impossible. It's tough on a ball, but on a Earth, we don't know what's underneath it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And then the earthquake waves, from the epicenter working their way out, works way better on a flat Earth.
We know it's underneath it. It's a molten iron core.
Yeah, right.
We've only dug 8 miles, but
yeah. Stephen Curry, if you are listening to the show and would like to come on either this show or the #1 rated show, the Flat Earth Podcast, hit us up and we'll gladly have you on.
I will tune in on that show. I will make sure that I jump in. I'm always listening, so no, definitely.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and this is the #1 show on TFR on Monday nights between the hours of 6 and 8 Pacific. Just remember that.
100%.
Yeah, and I think that there was an award at the conference that was supposed to be given to me, but they lost it for best Monday night show on TFR from 6 to 8.
That's true.
Yeah, I think Robbie told me that he forgot that one. So, no. So if you have any questions, please call in and give us your #1 globe proof. I've yet to hear one that's even worth repeating. Carlos might call in. Carlos is a regular caller. He works for DirecTV, and he will tell us that there's satellites above our head and that he's aimed the dishes at these satellites. He's never seen the satellites. Nobody has. When you show me a video or an image of a satellite, you won't be...
Did I talk about the satellite dish that we had on my father's house in the Caribbean?
You did, yes. You could just turn it and face a different satellite or whatever.
It picked up like 6 or 7 different satellites, pretty much equally spaced apart during its access. It's on a one-axis movement. So that makes me really think that they're beaming stuff up and it's bouncing off of the dome, the whatever you want to call it, something
ionosphere,
where it could bounce off of.
Yeah, the ionosphere. I did see something.
Right.
I did see something quite interesting the other day. There was just a reflection on my ceiling in my house that was a straight line rainbow. I thought it was weird. I was like, what is that coming from? And I looked around, like, what is reflecting? And then I found a little, it's like a flat package that has a little reflective top. And I kind of moved that around and said, oh, that's what it is causing that bow. And then but it wasn't a bow, it was just a straight line. And I said, well, wait, if I take this and I kind of bent it a little bit, and when you bend it, what do you know? You get the rainbow. So I started thinking, maybe those who believe in the actual dome aren't that far off.
True.
Because we see rainbows, and I don't know where the bow part of it's coming. Again, is there a more ridiculous globe Earth explanation than the explanation we get for rainbows? Have you ever heard the explanation of what rainbows come from?
Yeah, it never made sense to me. I'm like, why wouldn't there be like a million tiny rainbows?
Yeah, it makes no sense, and people just latch onto it. Well, this is the reason. It's been proven, this and that. And it makes no sense at all that there's tiny crystals up in the sky and that you're just happy to see each of them at an angle that's giving... I don't even get it still to this day. It doesn't explain it. What does explain it is when you shoot any light through a prism, that it separates out into the colors of the rainbow. So there's light being shot through some sort of a prism, call it the dome, you can call it the atmosphere above us, whatever you want, that is separating those out and creating a rainbow. So to me, whether the atmosphere itself is what's curved and that's what we're seeing through. And again, I don't remember the name of the channel, but there's a great video going around right now that's talking about what the view of Earth would look like from above the atmosphere. And, you could just take your half dome, Dave, if you would, and look from the top down, and you see everything that comes through there is turned spherical. That's just the way that a half dome of atmosphere would look like, and if you got high enough above it, I don't disagree that your view might curve that away from you. I also tried to talk about that in my video today. I just don't think people see that your eyes are spherical. And so when you're looking out your eyes, oops, I thought we had a break, sorry. When you're looking out your eyes, that if you look at a flat horizon, well, as you look further and further left and right, that is going to pull back because that's the shape of your eyes. And if you then turn to the right or left and you say, okay, now I'm looking over here, well, then you'll see that flat line again, and then the right and left of your view will bend backwards. People that fly in planes like Wolfie or anybody like that calls that the curvature of the Earth. It doesn't even look like curvature at all. It looks like a bent horizon line. It doesn't look like curvature. It's not like you're curving over a ball.
Half of the pictures they show us don't even have a smooth curve. It's flatter and sharper in some areas because the lens distorts it, not evenly.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We listen to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Go to Ginger Sugarbush's channel.